We have a seat.
Oh
no, I'm not sitting in that.
We already have
Have you seen those news articles where somebody sits really hard on like an office chair and the little pipe in it shoves up their ass?
Yeah, dude.
I'm not doing that. I don't
Extreme, or like taking it to like a ramp or something like that. All right, guys, are we good to go
I think
on
we're
this?
good.
All right,
we're good.
So like I said, kind of try to talk into it without leaning too much on the dirty pipe here. But yeah, so let me. I'll start off with a little intro, okay, and then I'll start asking the first questions. All right. So I might. All right, just go with the flow, guys. All right. All right. Hey guys, what's up? It's Rett here, and you're listening to The Morning Howl with Rett Arfarf, or the Rett Abnormal Radio Show, or just regular music roundtable. So I'm here with one of the bands playing the Williams Syndrome Band Bash 2025. We have Not Worth Asking in the house, or in the building, the outside building that we were in. Hey, you guys want to say what's up? Hey guys.
Hello.
Hey.
Yeah. So, Not Worth Asking, I got the pleasure of seeing them, in January, I think, right? When you guys were opening for Anti-Ghost, Panda House, and there was one other band.
Crash Nebula.
Crash Nebula.
That was an amazing show.
Yeah, that was a very cool show.
I think that's one of my favorite, if not our favorite lineups.
Yeah, and actually, that was the first time I ever got to see you guys play or meet you guys. And then I asked you that night to play our show on August 2nd. And it's honor to have you guys. You guys rocked that show. It was super cool. So yeah, you guys ready to do the interview?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. So what are all the names of the band members, your guys' roles in the band, and the music that inspired you to create the music for the band? And we'll do that if you want to go first, man.
Hi, I'm Nick. I would say.
Hi, Nick.
My name's Nick. I'm the drummer for Not Worth Asking.
Really?
So yeah, some bands that inspire me would have to be like Pierce the Veil and Boys Night Out. Like I love that kind of drumming style. I've been trying to work and perfect the craft of that, but I really love these guys. That one.
Okay. Hi, my name is Chance. I'm the rhythm guitarist, and some of the bands that I want to replicate are like Dinosaur Jr. and Sivness of the bands around here like Better Think Twice and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Hi, I'm Ari Reagan. Preschool flashbacks. But I'm the lead guitarist and lead singer. I guess bands that inspire me a ton are particularly Sunny Day Real Estate, Smashing Pumpkins, and Catherine from Chicago.
Hi, I'm Dan. I'm the bassist. Some of the bands that inspire me is Primus, Ludo has just always been one of my favorite bands. I like the weird shit.
Yeah, Ludo is actually from Pittsburgh.
Are they really?
Are they?
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
I actually,
What?
Yeah.
One band I didn't know, or one artist, is Jack Stober. I didn't know he was from that too.
Yeah.
But I heard that. I'm like, that's fucking
Yeah, I worked with the old manager of the band Ludo. I worked with her for Man Brothers in Cranberry Township. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
so
actually insane.
Yeah, awesome guys. Did you want to say something? It was like you were going to say something.
Oh, I was gonna say I found out Ween was from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Ween's from Pennsylvania. Yeah, it's crazy how many people are from Pittsburgh.
Do you know
go ahead.
my favorite factoid is so the MCR's their debut album, Bullets. They have a song on it, Early Sunsets in Moreauville, and it's since it's zombie movie themed a little bit. I think it's just really cool that if we take the album literally, I tell Nick this all the time, that it's technically in our backyard, that whole album. And I just think that's really fun for me whenever I'm driving through Pittsburgh.
Dude, I love MCR. MCR is one of my favorite all
they
emo
got
bands
me in
of
the
all
music.
time. Dude, right? I know. And my Abby, and like I said, she'll be editing this. She'll probably laugh. But we say all the time how how emo Abby is with her music taste, because she loves all the sad girl, sad boy, Simple Plan, stuff like that. MCR, her favorite band, she loves Knocked Loose and stuff like that too. I'm a big Knocked Loose hardcore.
I'm so happy for them recently.
Yeah, dude, old Grammys and all that.
When people tell me that rock doesn't have a voice anymore, I think
It's
that
Brian
they're making
Garris.
excuses, right? Because Knock Loose is you call them commercial,
Right?
No,
Yeah.
they're doing it because they're doing something interesting,
Yeah.
right?
I've
My
read
dad called Knocked Loose dad rock.
That's not.
And I was very
Your dad
confused by
is using dad rock is an insult?
I guess so. He said you like dad rock.
What does the
metal. I was
music
like,
he
what are
listen
you
to sound
talking
like?
about?
Did you just look at him and go arf arf?
I know, right? No, I don't. He's a confusing man.
Question number 2, if you guys are good on that one. Who would be the other 3 bands or musicians on the Dream Tour, you being the 4th? So bands you really enjoy and consider similar to the sound of style, like the sound of music you guys make. Could be anybody. Could be famous. Could be local. Just 3 bands that you would really like to go on tour with.
Man, if it were up to me, like we're really complex when it comes to our music, so we're not like a whole bunch of other stuff. But if I were to have my dream tour, it would have to include Boys Night Out, like My Chemical Romance, like those are my favorites for sure. Like that I could say are similar. Can't say Nirvana.
Right.
Unfortunately.
That's kind of who I thought whenever I first heard you guys. Was
Yeah, that's a lot of people
Nirvana,
compare us to that.
Yeah.
It's interesting because like when you look at like who our influences are, it's a clusterfuck.
They're all over the place.
You have-
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, when you guys were saying
and it's like it's definitely '90s influence. I mean, we take a lot of that there, but it's weird. Like I feel like Nirvana does have an impact, particularly in like the way that we record. Because the way that they were lightning in a bottle in the way that a lot of that's the producers they had, like Butch Vig captured the 90s in a way that nobody else could have.
Right, yeah.
But I think the way that the tactics we use in recording are a lot like it, but I think really, like, if we're, like, boiling it down, we're more emo than we are grunge.
I like to, from what I heard you guys, and I've listened to your guys' stuff, I've listened to everything you guys put out on Spotify so far and all that. I'm really excited to hear what you guys are doing for your new album. But I've noticed that, like, you guys have, like, that emo twist to it, but it's still kind of grunge, and I like it. It's heavy. You know, it's good. It's like groove, too. And
we try to do something a little
anyone else want to put up on that, or do you want to do,
If I had like a dream tour, I'd probably put like I'd gotta go with like MCR, Ludo, and like maybe get like Pierce the Veil on there too.
That'd be cool.
Like,
I would die to play. I've been thinking about this for a while. I really want to organize a show and get like my favorite like B list. I mean this endearingly. They're the best 90s rock bands in my opinion. But like a bunch of like really my most impactful bands of the 90s that really didn't get all the love. Like Bird Brain. I fucking love Bird Brain. Their second album, Let's Be Nice. And then the same thing applies to Catherine, where they put out 2 albums. Their second album was better than anything I've ever heard.
Yeah.
And then they fizzled out. Like I would want Catherine, Bird Brain. I'd want... there's this band called Lughead.
Yeah.
They had Hold My Life.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Lughead, yep.
If I could do that and get like all those people that never got the love and I just adore, I think that'd be so much fun.
Cool. Okay.
I personally believe that I would go on tour with Dinosaur Jr. and the Pixies.
That's a good lineup. The Pixies, yeah.
The Femmes would be sick.
The Femmes,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that would be
The
sick.
Femmes.
Think of that. All right, cool. 3. You guys going for answer 3?
Yeah.
If you weren't playing music, what would you be doing instead? Like for fun, like, or for, trying to make a career out of it? Like hobbies or whatever.
Well, me and Chance actually, we're in an HVAC class together where we're I'm trying to get a job there doing that right now. But in my free time, I like to spin records and stuff, play video games, skateboard, the whole shebang.
Mine would be like exercising. Mine would be like exercising and running a lot more and stuff like that. That's my second favorite thing to do.
Very cool. Very cool. Ari?
I really don't know. I think that's like one of the hardest. That's one of the hardest questions, is because music is the reason why I'm still here, and it's the reason why it dictates everything. I wake up and it's what I do, right? It's what I live and breathe, and I don't know what I would do. I was joking with Nick and them, and we were talking about how we shouldn't say it, but and it's not true. But we jokingly said, I don't know, crack. It's true. Like I'd just be a different person. Though I am going into going into finance and being a personal like accountant.
Okay.
I mean, right now I work almost like a 9 to 5. Like as soon as I graduate, I'm in a co-op, so like at like 11 o'clock I leave school and I go to a job. I do embroidery for a local place down in Beaver, CNS Sports. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Okay. Yep.
I do like majority of like the embroidery work there.
So that could be a cool, just stepping into that more for a career. If music doesn't pan out, that could be a fallback then, right?
Yeah. But
Very cool.
hobby-wise, I play a lot of Warhammer 40k.
Nice, okay.
And I collect a lot of trading card games.
Okay.
I play Warhammer with him.
Yes,
Alright,
I got
cool.
him into it.
I think one of my favorite things about Dan, especially because Dan and Chance are fairly new additions to our band, because Not Worth Asking has had a lot of lineup changes throughout its lifespan. But this is the one I've been most content with since we added. It feels perfect.
And that happens, we've all been there, but as long as you guys are having fun doing creating together, that's all that really matters. But every band has had this lineup changes, even bigger bands. Even like well-known bands have had lineup changes.
We haven't let it stop us, but Dan actually started. He's been to every one of our shows.
He has not
Nice.
missed a
since the beginning.
single show.
He's not missed a single one. But also, he was our. I would make the physical art for all of our stuff. Like I'd make the physical like art aspects, and he would be our graphic designer.
I like that.
and that's kind of what he does for a job. And
Yeah.
So
I go to Votech for graphic design, actually. And I've known Nick since 6th grade?
I think it was 6th grade. We've known each other for about 30 years.
Yeah, so, like somewhere like 40 years,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah, and it's just like, I went to every single show because I love these guys. I love my boys. I want to support them.
And now you're playing bass.
Yeah.
Which that is awesome. I'm a bassist. I love playing bass.
Yeah, he said he was like, "What if I jokingly auditioned?" And I was like, "Yeah, that'd be funny." And then he actually tried, and I was like,
to
"Get him in,
to
get
be
him in."
personal, he showed up to one of the practices. It was like the last practice, and he's only had a couple with us, and he's played 2 shows, and we've been so impressed so far. Same thing with Chance; he's been crushing it as well. We have a song that he wrote recently that we've been performing live.
That's awesome.
And it's killer, and we're excited for it. But Dan, we're practicing, and he pulls out. He starts playing Lacquerhead by Primus. and it's immediately I recognized it, and it just blew my mind because it's like anything Primus is
Legit,
fucked.
yeah.
Like, I don't-
like on bass especially, man.
Yeah.
Les Claypool who doesn't know if he's playing
Yeah.
a bass or not.
Yeah, like I've never been more proud, I think, of any of our band members. I thought that was just really cool.
And I picked up bass for the band like a month ago. Would it be like a month and a half?
He's new
month?
to it. He's very new to it.
And he's crushing it.
Bass is a relatively easy instrument to learn, but it's a hard one to master.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like that's why I love it, because like as much as I play guitar too. Like I play a little bit of everything now. But as much as I love playing bass, it's like it's so easy to learn because you can just do tabs. Or you can go into octaves, you can go into slap, you can do it's crazy. You guys want to go to question 4?
Sounds good.
To anyone who wants to start something in like the realm of music, whether it be a band, playing an instrument, music, video producing, DJing, really anything that is like around our scene of music, what would you tell them?
I would say genuinely stay true to your sound and practice a lot. Genuinely, if you really love playing your instrument, practicing shouldn't be a thing that you're dreading to do.
Or whether it be videography, practicing, editing, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Just,
Whatever comes to the music industry or whatever, just genuinely, if you're having fun with it, keep at it, and you can perfect your craft and maybe become something big.
I agree.
Genuinely.
Chance?
I would have to say that it doesn't matter if you know music theory or not. You should keep trying, because over time you will adapt.
I think my biggest thing is I've always been really scared. When I was starting out, I was always really scared. I was always in my shell. And, music was one of those things that what I looked for immediately when I started doing it was something to express myself. And there was a lot of stuff that was bottling up. And when you're starting out, a clean slate, you have nothing out, nothing on paper, and you're trying to express all these emotions, you sometimes get bogged down. And I know that for a lot of people, they're super caught up in trying not to look like another band, trying not to... Like, when I started out, I was scared that people would compare us to Nirvana or the Smashing Pumpkins, and I realized that that's something that you should embrace. Seniority is something that's seen as so important in the music world, but the reality of it is a young band that's only been around for a month can have just as good and valuable music as somebody who's been around for 10 years. So really what it is just being true to yourself and making sure you're putting every inch of your soul into your music, because that's how you're going to kind of fix the music world. I mean, if you look at any of the artists that came out of nothing, they really had something about them that was just honest.
I'm going to say a note on that real quick. that was, all you guys are giving awesome answers, by the way. Thank you again for being here with me today. But one artist who comes on particular to that to me, whenever you said like it doesn't matter where you came from type thing with like nothing. Yeah, I mean Eminem, man, came from absolutely dirt nothing and led to be one of the biggest artists of the day. And I like Eminem. I've always found his lyrics true and meaningful. But whenever you said that, like, he came from nothing, that kind of made me think of that, like, wow, Eminem was pretty much like that.
Yeah, and if he can do it, I mean, you have the tools to as well. I think people underestimate how much things they have under their belt right now, especially like particularly like I know that a lot of artists don't want to be TikTokers anymore, and nobody really wants to be an influencer. You want your music to speak for yourself. But really, just go with the flow. I mean, all of it is an opportunity to put your soul into something, and it's just an experience. I mean, do it while you can now. I mean, you look at bands that should have been as big as it should have been the world, right? Like Bird Brain. Like you have their album Let's Be Nice, which you'd think would be bigger, just as big as like Nirvana.
It's such a shame, genuinely.
But
that album's great.
Their record label dropped them and it fizzled out. And I think partially, I sit there and I'm like punching my leg a little bit. I'm like, if they would have kept up, and they would have adapted, they could have continued. But same thing with the band Bender. They had they had their first album Joe, and then their second album Jehovah's Hit List. Perfect. And then they fizzled out. And I just don't let your art fizzle out. Don't stop. Try to top yourself.
No matter what people say, just keep on creating.
Yeah.
Right. You got it.
My piece of advice is, when it comes to practicing, even if you're having a bad day, and you're like, I don't want to do this right now. Like, sometimes just sitting or you're procrastinating and you're like, and you're procrastinating, you're like, I'll do it later. If you just tell yourself, all right, I'm going to sit down 5 minutes and I'm going to just do something, even if I'm just noodling. And then half the time you find yourself 30 minutes later, 40 minutes later, and you've been practicing,
Abby, are you listening? Other people do it too.
Exactly.
She always says,
everybody does.
I'll tell her and my dad, like, hey, I'm going to go in the music room, my recording studio down that bill. And I'm going to jam for like 5-10 minutes. I'll jam my drum or whatever. And like 3 hours will pass. Where did the time go?
That's also a huge problem where it's like you got to make sure you're not over practicing too. When I started out, I thought like you don't need to like make your fingers bleed. When I started out, I would leave every time practicing with like literally cuts and bruises.
You're crazy for that.
Because I was trying my best. Like Nick saw me in that early for like I was constantly bleeding because I thought that's what I needed to do. But really, you just sit down, you give it some effort. You don't need to do that.
Yeah,
like
and you
the
can
biggest
relax
compliment.
too a bit too.
Yeah, like the biggest compliment that we get as a band, at least. I guess not as a band, but one of the biggest compliments that people give me directly is that they think my guitar work it sounds like my guitar work, right? I've heard that from a lot of people that when you hear a riff that's in one of our songs, it just sounds like it's from one of our songs.
I noticed that, actually, yeah.
And it's just like, for me, that's a big compliment where it's like, I'm not playing Van Halen, and you don't need to play Van Halen, but you just have to have your own identity.
And actually, I'm glad you brought that up too, because when I saw you guys play, the riffs are very like, I don't know how to describe it. I can tell that they're your riffs, and how I can pick that out, but they're very familiar to alike, if that makes sense. Like, I know I like the style of riff that you're playing, but yet I've never heard that same exact riff before. It's kind of cool, because I know it's you, and I could pick up on that now, especially from listening to you guys more, but it sounds like it like appeases the familiarity that I'm accustomed to while listening to music, if that makes sense.
Man, you're gonna love some of the riffs.
Yeah, right.
When we get to that,
we'll talk about that more later.
So, question number 5.
Sweet.
All right. So, what is your favorite movie about music? Could be a musical, could be a rockumentary, could just be like a Disney with a well-known soundtrack. 3 of mine, for instance, are Rocket Man, which was about Elton John, The Greatest Showman, which is about P.T. Barnum.
The music by that's by Brendan Urie, right?
Yep, I believe a lot of it is. If not all of it, most of it I believe is. And then the Pitch Perfect trilogy about the acapella group. They're funny. I don't know. It's kind of like a, but what would you guys do favorite movies
My
about?
favorite movie about that would have to be Scott Pilgrim versus the World. It's going to make me sound like a loser.
I love that movie. That movie's amazing.
Genuinely, I love that movie. It's got me through so many hard times, and I just love the aspect of just them being in a band and, kicking ass and whatever. It's genuinely
Sex
love
ball
it.
bomb. Sex ball bomb.
I have the vinyl with the all of the hit on there that they all play live, and I also have the composition vinyl, which has like all of the background music and everything.
Very
on
cool. Chance?
I would say that the SpongeBob movie with Ween and the Mollusk was pretty good. As the playlist, as well as I would say probably I like Montage of Heck. It's got me through some times.
Okay.
Mine would probably be the soundtrack for the first Scream movie, and my second favorite would be Life on the Murder Scene, which is the MCR documentary.
Good one.
When I was a kid, I always loved Princess and the Frog. It was my favorite Disney movie. I watched it all
Nice.
the time. All the songs on there are really good. But then what?
No, I agree. I got a problem with this, buddy.
Do you want to fight?
No, do you have any, like, I revert to a childlike state of wonder when I'm recording alone. I have so many shitty home demos that are like children's songs, but just horrible.
One about a Blumpkin.
Yeah.
My favorite one is Country Song.
Oh, we're not talking. I live in a truck. We're not talking about that song.
Oh no.
HVAC.
Question number 6 now.
Yeah.
Sweet.
What are some upcoming things for you guys in music? Big shows, new music. I think what we were talking about earlier, you guys have a lot to talk about this one. So I'll leave it to you.
Yup.
Go ahead.
This is a really interesting time in our band, and one that we're like really excited for. Not only do we have a lineup change, we have the first time ever we have a second guitarist, which opens up a lot of space for me. Particularly, my biggest thing is I've always wanted to move around more. I wanted to not be glued to the mic as much, and I'm really excited for that. I think the biggest thing that we have coming up, like in terms of like material, is our second album, Faith and Noise, will be out pretty soon. We're getting the final mixes of it recently. The first single of that album, Parasite, should be out very soon, depending on when you're listening to this. This album is unbelievable. I'm never proud of the stuff that I make. I always feel like it's lacking because I'm my biggest critic. This is the first album I've sat down, or first like set of songs I've ever heard of my own that I'm like, I genuinely am really excited for this. The people on the unfortunately, it was a rough period of the band in terms of lineup changes. It's just me and Nick on the record.
Yeah.
I'm doing bass work, and Nick picked up a lot of he helped me a lot with making sure the vocals were right and everything.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure because on our first album we were a little solar vocals were a little shaky, so we wanted to make sure that this one we made sure that they were going to be great. And I don't know, me and Ari have talked about it, but we genuinely think this album is like 100 times better than the last one.
Every song is so unbelievably catchy, and I just think there's some really killer riffs. We multi-tracked this album. Last one we recorded live in studio, kind of like in utero a little bit, but we're not going for that for this one. We did it all multi-tracking, and I don't think we're going to go back. I think it gave us such a good product.
That's why I multi-track with everything.
Yeah, the rough was good, but the biggest problem walking away from Dressed in White, and it's not Kurt's fault. We're working with Kurt again for this album, and he's blowing it out of the park. It's just the mix on it, because of the way that we recorded it, it sounds like it's a little bit dunked in oil, like it's underwater a little bit. And that's fine, but a fun anecdote, I always, when you go on, our Spotify gives you the artists that are like you. And we go on our radio, and it's all, really, homemade, dream pop or indie, where the vocals are just so drowned out. And it's
Just because of the way that we recorded it.
Because of the way we
really.
recorded it.
But
it doesn't
live,
sound
though,
anything like us.
That does
No.
not live
Not-
though. It's
not
amazing.
at all.
Yeah.
The vocals are so much more clean, and honestly, the riffs are beautiful. And I'm
Nick's drum
really,
work.
really proud of my drum work on that, especially Pocket Knife. Maybe another single before that one drops.
Yeah, I mean,
so-
do we want to say the singles?
Yeah, if we want to announce the single,
Go ahead.
sure.
I think it's first one is going to be Parasite, second one's going to be Pocket Knife, and the third one's going to be Cutting Room Floor.
People seem to really love Cutting Room Floor.
And I believe what you guys are talking about is we're gonna play after we're done with the interview. We're gonna be playing your song.
It's Asphalt Flowers.
Asphalt
That's
Flowers.
off our last
But
album.
we might be switching it over at some point to Parasite, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
So depending on what was that?
This is
That
a window
was-
shut.
It just fucking shut.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the ghost of Beaver Bowl.
All right. So before we carry on, shit, man.
Oh,
make sure
and,
it's not haunted.
In terms of shows, which
Yeah.
we'll get out of the way as well, we have one show coming up, depending on when you're listening to this, April 19th. It's at Forge Winery. Great lineup. It's going to be really killer. It's our first set where Chance and Dan should be on every song and fully like operating on all
And I
cylinders.
believe me and Randy will be there.
Yeah,
I believe I believe we will be there. So, and then you guys are playing our Williamson Band Bash on the
Absolutely.
2nd, which were me and Abby. Abby didn't get to see you guys play. She wasn't with me that show. Played Abby your guys' recording. She loves you guys. She loved your sound. We're excited, and well, I might as well explain that to you guys now. Where we're in the middle of our interview. We'll talk about a couple things here to kind of take a side note from the questions. So Abby's daughter actually was diagnosed with Williams syndrome 2 years ago, which is why we did the first event. And Williams syndrome is a very rare, can be genetic, cannot be. I'm still learning about it, but it affects the heart, it affects the mental. Some of the children have, they're a little bit slower when it comes to learning. Like Isabel just started walking and she turned 3. But things like that. But it affects the 7th chromosome. So I'm still learning a lot more about it. Any questions that you guys have, feel free to reach out to Abby, or I can direct her to it. But anyways, so thank you guys again for playing the show. It's going to be awesome.
when you reached out, it was an immediate yes. I mean, not only does, like, especially with heart stuff, everybody in my family has heart conditions. And, I mean, to get a little bit personal, the reason why I started making music is my uncle. My uncle Ben was part of a band called Luca Brasi. And he passed away at, like, late 40s because of heart problems in 2020, I believe, or 2021. That was the biggest thing that got me into music. He got me my first guitar, and I was anti-playing music until he passed away, and I started doing it, and I can really thank all of this for him. But as soon as you said it was about a heart condition, and also it was weird timing because we were actually learning about Williams syndrome in my anatomy class.
No. Wow. They were teaching your anatomy class.
So our anatomy teacher, which one kudo I'll give to her, is that she does, when she's going over, like when we're doing the heart, when we're doing the nervous system and all that, she will give like a long list of stuff, and she'll have us research stuff. And we have a research thing coming up, and I'm planning on doing it for Williams syndrome.
Awesome, man. I can't wait. And whenever you're done with that, if you want to send it over to me and Abby, we would love it. We would love to just read it for,
Absolutely.
That's really cool. And one other thing I wanted to touch up on, we didn't really explain where we were at. We are actually at a place, we're outside right now, and kind of like, it looks like kind of like an empty courtyard of just stuff, but it's like a courtyard of sorts with like brick. It's called the Beaver Bowl.
Yeah.
And-
We're at the back, like the backyard of it, pretty much.
We're
It
in
looks like
the-
this is where trucks would come in and load stuff.
Yeah,
It's very abandoned.
Yeah.
The
very
roof
open.
is
Yeah.
collapsed. so-
Yeah. DIY venue maybe?
Honestly,
If I had the money,
the
I'd buy it
money-
and fix it.
Yeah. But Chance was, we just noticed Chance is about the window just shut. And we're
Yeah.
like, who's listening to the interview before everyone else gets to? Type of thing. But no, it's a cool place. I'll be posting some, I'll be taking some pictures when we're done here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, stuff like that too. No, this is cool. I'm excited. You guys ready to get back to the other questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we got a couple other things. We got 7, 8, 9, 10. We got 4 more questions for you guys. All right. So, what gets you hyped to play a live show? Could be smoking a little, could be drinking a little, just vibing with friends, listening to a favorite song on the way, whatever. What gets you guys hyped to play your set?
I mean, genuinely, I love listening to like some of my favorite music. I listen to Boys Night Out and stuff. I've said their names so many times, but I love them. I know Ari's got a similar question to me, but he always brings a lot of CDs and everything because I love my car because it's got a CD player. I've been collecting them recently. I'm a big collector of vinyl too, but he always pops in. Say it, you know it. Say this is a segue.
Okay, the only thing that gets me hyped up as much as anything else is Slipknot. The Slipknot's debut album, or Iowa, have grown on me so insurmountably. Our next album, I can see a lot of inspiration. Actually, this album that we just made, I can see some influence, at least the aggression of it. I can't. I just love Surfacing, Spit It Out,
Spit It Out.
Get
Insane.
This. All of those songs just
Were you
make me
guys-
so unbelievably hyped up to play.
Did you guys happen to go to that show last year? Slipknot and
No,
Knockers?
and Ari was really mad about it.
Because they're doing their original costumes,
Yep.
they're doing the whole album. I'm hoping they do Iowa. No fingers crossed, because Iowa's the best one.
I was a good album.
But I don't know. It's
So-
Slipknot and Korn. I'm not even the biggest metal person, but those two bands just get me so. System of a Down's debut album is I don't know. That hypes
See,
me up immediately.
That show, I've seen Slipknot, I think 3 times now.
Are they good?
And the first time I saw them was at Knotfest when it was Slipknot, Gojira, Volbeat, and there was one more band on that. I can't remember who the other band was. But then this was the second time I saw. I've only seen them twice actually. And I saw Knocked Loose is my favorite. The first time I saw Slipknot, they were amazing. This time though, I love the first album so much, and it kind of like, I don't know if it was lineup change since that or what.
Can
but
Corey
like,
still do it?
Corey can still do it, but like honestly though, Knocked Loose, there were people saying, like Slipknot fans saying that Knocked Loose outshined Slipknot.
You gotta think that almost every single song on their first album is so aggressive with the vocals.
And
Yeah,
Corey
it's
was
so
in
hard
such
to keep
a.
up with
Everybody
that.
was in such a bad place.
You're right, and like Corey can still do it, but I think that he has aged and he has come like, you know what I mean, a little bit more.
He's like almost 60. He's pushing. Has to
Yeah,
be pushing 60.
I don't want to say professional because that's not it at all. It's not a more professional side. I want to say
grown
that
up.
he's grown, and I think that his music that he writes now, especially with the new lineup, because you know, out
The
of
new
the
album's surprisingly great.
yeah, but like out of the 9-10 members of Slipknot, I think there's only 2 original members that were on that first album.
Did they all hate each other for the second album?
Paul, yeah, I mean their second
Oh,
album
yeah.
was they were miserable making it, and that's why I mean Corey like was cutting himself and everything was.
But
like,
because their first album was so huge and they had
Yeah.
all expectations to get a really banger second album too.
I think that Paul Gray and Joey Jordison. That being said, what's their new drummer? It's on the tip of my tongue.
I know the name.
It's on the tip of my tongue. I think he's doing a great job.
Yeah,
But and he's filling in the shoes nicely. But
he's
I
not
mean,
really a Jordanson. You know?
Without Paul Gray and Joey Jordison, it's rough. It's more rough. Just I mean, you also got those were 2 founding members of the band. And the only person that was writing, the only 2 people that are still writing songs from that era of the band are really Sean Crahan and Corey.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. It has to be hard.
Jordison has something special too because he was not just a drummer; he was a musician. He could play riffs. He could help create that side too.
And he wrote a lot of the songs.
Yeah, he did. Anyone else want to pick up on that? On
Oh,
like
well,
what
these
makes you
two do
hyped
that.
or whatever.
I've played one show so far, and what got me really hyped up is John the Fisherman by Primus. I fucking love that bass line so much.
That's a good one, man.
Oh my god.
That's a good one.
I could listen to that all day.
Chance.
I listen to the King Cool, Donnie Iris, every
Okay.
every single day, starting with a gig, because it just like proves that there's a possibility that you can get famous from the Pittsburgh area.
Yeah. Okay. Very
That's
cool.
such a
That's a good reason. That's yeah.
It's a good reason.
Listening-
Just angry. And
I'll say
loud.
one thing for all of us, at least for 3 of us, listening to All in the Family by Korn.
Oh,
It's so
bad,
with
but
with
it's
Fred
so-
Durst, right?
so
with Fred
gut
Durst.
wrenchingly horrible.
It's
and
it's terrible
so
song.
fun. It's
It's
so
so-
fun.
It started as like a joke song, and now we listen to it, and we're like, yeah, this is it. This is
We
the
sing
song
along
listen
to like almost all the
Every
lyrics
lyric.
because
some of
can't
them are
say all.
so stupid.
Yeah.
Like
I can't say all of
Can't
this.
say all of them.
But yeah, Fred Durst.
Oh my
where'd you get that little dance?
Right? Who is question number 8? If you guys are good.
Yeah.
Who is the best band you've ever seen live? And I'm not really talking about your favorite band, but the best band you've seen live in person. So, like for me, one of the best bands. I mean, Knocked Loose is my favorite band, and they are probably the best band I've seen live. One of the other bands, though, like I'm not a huge fan, but live, Hollywood Undead blew me away. Like they were amazing live.
For a second, I thought you were going to say the band live. I'm like,
No, Lightning Crashes, right?
Yeah.
No, Hollywood Undead, like, fucking killed it live, man. Like, they were heavy. There was mosh pits. They were switching instruments. It was cool.
awesome.
But, yeah, who's the best band you guys have ever seen live?
Man, I'm gonna sound like a broken record. So, about 2 weeks ago, I went to Preserving Undergrounds to go see Boys Night Out,
Nice.
Hello Goodbye, and Armor for Sleep.
That's a good show.
I love Boys Night Out. I mean, they have been on hiatus for about 20 years, and I had no hope of them ever coming back, and then they came back. That was the best 45 minutes of my life. Genuinely, I was high-fiving the guitarist. He was high-fiving me to like a song that had a clapping part.
I like
the
Armor
singer was in
Slave,
my
yeah.
face right above me. It was genuinely the best. I got all my stuff signed and everything.
I love Preserving Underground too. One of the best venues in Pittsburgh. We got
There's a
going on.
record store in the
Right,
venue.
exactly.
It is the best thing ever. Genuinely.
Chance.
Mine might have been when I went to my friend's Paul's house and I saw the Clarks.
That's cool. Yeah, the Clarks are good live. They are very good live. They know what they're doing.
Yep. That I'll give two answers because I think one is how I was feeling when watching.
Is that window again? They don't like the Clarks.
My dad doesn't either.
Is that your dad?
Neither does my dad. So
Yeah,
my mom
our
loves the
dad.
Clarks.
Yeah, my sister loves the Clarks.
Yeah, my mom loves the Clarks. I think girls just like the Clarks.
Yeah. My sister loves the Clarks. I don't know, man. Whatever. I mean, whatever your style is.
Yeah.
No one's here to judge anybody.
But
Good, yeah.
I think one is just kind of like how I felt great watching it. Like the first one I'll say is MCR on their return tour. I went to see them at Riot Fest in Chicago, and not only was that show great because I got to see the Descendants, I got to see Lagwagon, I got to see Taking Back Sunday and Sparta. Alkaline Trio was way
Nice.
better than I thought they were going to be. I loved every bit of that show. It was just so much fun. I loved seeing the Descendants share the same stage as bands like MCR because that's such a cool full circle.
That is a really cool full circle.
I wish I could see we didn't stay for the second day. The Misfits with Danzig were playing, but regardless, that was such an unbelievable show. Gerard's voice sounds incredible still. They're killing it. They're so energized now, and their new song Foundations of Decay is played so awesome live. You can tell it's really. I will say though, I think some of that is because that is like a childhood dream. The first ever time I saw live music played was watching it. I watched them play Na 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 live. I think it was like some kind of iHeart Music Festival until like 2010. I was like 3, or 3 or 4, and I remember that blowing my mind. And so that was just kind of like a really powerful moment for me. But objectively, the best band I've ever seen live was Sunny Day Real Estate. They're the only band I vowed. I went with him to see him play Diary.
Him is Nick.
Because Diary is my favorite album of all time.
Very cool.
And objectively, I think they're the only band I've ever sat down and said, I'm going to see them every time I can see them. And they're touring again this summer, and I'm going. So, and he might go again too.
Very cool.
Lots of slamming
Right,
doors
lots
and
of,
windows around
I
here.
wanted to bounce off of Ari really quick. He said something. When
Yeah.
you were like, what you said, like 4 or something. You saw My Chemical Romance live.
Yeah.
When I was like probably like about like 8 or 9, I saw Blink-182 live for the first time, and I saw Travis Barker in like a cage or something
Dude, he
spinning
rips.
around. That was like one of the biggest. Like, I want to be a drummer now.
It was like, dude, it was like so much. Whenever Travis Barker did it, was so much better. Whenever what's his name, Tommy Lee did it from Motley Crue.
yeah.
Travis Barker did it, and it was like punk as like fuck when he did it. It was cool.
I love it.
Good man.
So my first ever show, I went and I saw Pierce the Veil in the Used Creative Control Tour. I actually went with Nick and a couple other friends, and one of those people I went with is now my girlfriend of like 1.5 years now, closing out on 2
Nice.
years.
I set him
Nice.
up. I set him up.
You told me she was a lesbian.
I did tell you she was lesbian. 'cause I thought she was a lesbian.
You were actively swatting me away.
I'm a good wingman. I cried that entire show. That was an amazing show.
Sad boy music. Right.
Pierce the Veil.
That's awesome.
I saw B. Taylor when I was
J-
3.
I think my first show was it wasn't Poison. It was what Michael, what's
Mike, what's his name? He's from Butler.
yeah, he's from here.
Hart.
Brett Michaels.
Brett Michaels.
Brett Michaels. I saw
not
Brett
Hart,
Michaels
Brett
live when I was like literally like a fetus. Like
Was
I
that
I was like a baby.
Was
And
that like
they-
the farm showgrounds?
I don't remember. It had to have been like 2000. I don't know. I had the big earmuffs on, and my parents tell me all the girls there were swooning over me. So look at me now.
But as I was saying, I will always remember like banging my head super hard to Caraphanelia with Nick, and we were screaming our lungs out to that song.
That's a good song.
Oh, it was so much fun.
That was genuinely
Used.
That
I
was
want
a
to
core
see.
memory.
I want to see them. They're doing Lies for the Liars live. I want to see that.
They're
so
doing
fucking
all
bad.
3 of their albums live for 3 different days.
It just costs too
Well,
much.
is that the emo tour, the emo cruise?
No.
they're doing a
having
tour on their own.
They're going to like one festival location, I'm pretty sure, and one day they're playing Debut, then they're playing In Love and in Death, and then they're playing Lies for the Liars. Like
That's
one
sweet,
day.
'cause I just saw the lineup for emo cruise, and it's ridiculous.
Under Oath, right?
The Used, Under Oath, August Burns Red, Devil Wears Prada. Who else was on there? It's crazy. The Devil Wears Prada are like my second other favorite band. I love
They're
Prada.
really good.
Sick
I
New
saw them
World
live,
had a
I think.
really good lineup, but I'm still really mad. I'm actually mad. I'm mad at Serge Tankian, even though he's one of my idols. I'm mad at him specifically because I want them to tour in the U.S. and they're doing like 3 shows in the U.S. and now they're doing like 8 in like South America. Do stuff here, please. I want to see you. I don't want to go to. I would go because New York was. Nick's flipping off the window.
I think it's haunted in here.
It might be a little bit.
It was Korn and Slipknot playing in New York. I want to go see that. That's awesome.
I would go see that. I'd go with you.
I just
Like, I
Hell
mean, like
yeah,
that.
road trip.
I want to see Korn. I do want to see Korn. I think that I hear they're still great live.
I've never seen them live. Abby's seen them, I think, a couple times, and she loves them live.
And I've noticed one thing about them is Jonathan Davis plays the songs that people want to hear,
He does.
which is cool.
Yeah.
I like that. when they
I
do
respect that. So, number 9 might be the longest question we have, maybe.
Oh Lord.
Oh god.
So, prepare yourself, guys. What current gear are you guys using? Bass, single, whatever.
For me, I would say like I'm running pretty generic like shells and everything when it comes to my drums. I like to change my head brand all the time, but I'm using my cymbals are my favorite thing, and I would say they're probably one of my signature things are the Zildjian Dark Series S cymbals. I got them when I first got my kit that my Pat bought me, and I fell in love with them instantly. And I ended up saving up enough money to get the Dark Series S China cymbal, which I absolutely adore, genuinely. It's on a few songs. It's on Cutting Room Floor. I believe it's also on Parasite.
The window again.
Stop interrupting me.
He's talking
Yeah,
about
but genuinely,
drums.
I love them so much that's like my signature thing that I use.
It is windy in here, too. So.
Yeah.
My gear consists of a Squier Cyclone. I need to put better pickups in it though, as of recent. And I use a Boss amp as well as pedals that I just bought as of recent as well.
I've only ever used one amp in my entire career playing, and it's my Fender Mustang GTX 100.
Those Mustangs are good.
It's great. I'm looking for something better now because I want to get like a twin reverb. But really, where it gets complicated is guitars and pedals, because I have a problem a little bit.
We all do, man.
If we're to boil it down, I'll say first of all for Dressed in White, if you want to get the Dressed in White sound, it's a Kurt Cobain Jag Stang, the modern reissue, and it's a Univox High Flyer. The pedals on that is a vintage 1986 DS1. For this album, though, it's a vintage 86 DS1. That's my favorite distortion. I'm looking for a secondary distortion that I like more, but DS1 has treated me really well. The vintage ones sound great. My favorite pedal, though, is my Plumes Overdrive. It's the only overdrive I'll ever use. I'm never going to consider getting rid of it. It's so fucking good. I love it. It's what's on You'll Never Know, and ironically, all of our biggest songs has it on it. I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's the only one I'll ever use. I use a carbon copy for my delay. I've used a Big Muff. I've used a Rat. I've used a Sansamp Guitar 2. I've used a Digitech distortion pedal. I've used a lot of distortions. Really, the only ones that stuck were the Digitech, the DS1, and that's about it. Carly Conroy, she introduced me to, one of her friends introduced her to the MXR custom Badass 78.
I had one of those.
And then she introduced it to me, and I just got it a couple days ago. I'm messing with it. It might be a good contender. I love the thing.
Those
Guitars,
XR bands are
though,
pretty sweet. Yeah.
are my thing. Like it's the Univox High Flyer is my number one guitar, and I run a lot of Mustangs, but also because they're my beaters. I break Mustangs typically. I don't treat them very well because I have cheaper ones. But really, right now, a guitar that's really caught my eye is recently I got a Reverend. I got a Reverend Charger 290. It's fantastic. It's definitely going to be on the next thing.
So recently I got my first ever like bass that like I owned. It's the Epiphone E1 Thunderbird. Oh my
Nice.
god, I love that bass
Absolutely
so much.
It's so
It's
sexy.
Yeah, right? Yeah, yeah.
Like, oh my god.
And heavy.
Yeah, it is so heavy. It's head heavy
Is,
too.
that's passive, correct? Not active pickups, right? Is that passive? Or?
I believe
It's just a P.
It's just a P bass,
I believe it's just passive.
Very cool.
And then right now I'm using a bass amp that Chance gave me.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it's called.
Is it a Fender Rumble?
It's a rocket.
It's a Rocket.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Fender
what Tanner
Rumbles
had.
are pretty sick, though.
That's what
Fender-
Tanner had actually. Our
Did he?
real bassist. He had a Rocket amp.
I think it was heavy.
So that's
Yeah.
what's on Dress in White is a Rocket.
Okay.
I don't know which one, but
However, I am looking at getting a Fender Rumble 100 once I can actually get some money
Those
saved up.
100s are nice, and they're pretty show ready too. Like those are a. So I've had actually my buddy Lee, who I was in a band with. He has I jam on it all the time. I remember at his house is a Fender Rumble 500. It's huge, man, and it booms. But yeah, very very good selection of instruments and pedals and everything, guys. That's incredible. You guys ready for the last question?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
All right, so again, I want to say thank you guys for being on here. We have one more question for you, and then we're going to be playing one of your guys' songs after. What other acts are you excited about seeing? There are 17 other acts besides you guys. Who are you guys excited to see? I know we mentioned Carly Conroy. We mentioned a couple others.
I definitely want to see.
Atlas Decay.
Yeah, Atlas Decay for sure. And I'm really excited to see all the sideshow things too, with all the acoustic things. I would definitely be willing to see a lot of them for
Yeah.
sure.
Mine would probably be Modern Fossils. I'd like to see them.
Modern Fossils is sick. Like, they are so good.
it would be a pleasure to see Carly Conroy again. I think that she's really crushing it. I like her new direction. I think it's really cool.
I can't wait to see her. I've actually never met Carly, so
I think I'm stoked. They were great when we played with them, and they were my favorite band that played that night, and they're probably going to be one of my favorite bands the next night. I also agree with Nick. I really want to see Atlas Decay.
I've heard a lot of good things about them.
they kill it, man.
Well, Ari just stole both my answers. But I was going to say, I'm super excited to see Carly Conroy again. She killed it last time I saw her. And then I'm also really excited to see Atlas Decay, too.
Yeah.
I think we're all excited for Atlas Decay.
Yeah, I'm excited for Atlas Decay also. I actually, it's funny because I'm an old guy. I'm 34. So I don't look at that, I don't think. But anyways, so I went to high school with Chris, their bassist. So I've known Chris for a very long time. Very good friend of mine. All of the four guys are very cool, though. I think the only one that's not original, I'm sorry if I'm wrong, Atlas Decay, if you guys are listening, I'm wrong. I believe that the drummer, though, is the only one who came back, or is new after their, time apart.
Okay.
But the rest of the three of them, Brian, Chris, they're all there. Very technical, very good guys. Yeah, so I'm done with my 10 questions. Is there anything else that you guys want to add to the interview or anything like that before we play your song?
I think look out for this new album, because this new album is going to kick ass.
I can't wait.
Genuinely,
Yeah.
we've never been more proud of anything genuinely that we've created. If I'm speaking on Ari's behalf too, but
And it's not like a Smashing Pumpkin. It's not like Billy Corgan saying this new album's the best thing we ever made. It's not. It's objectively
Brush
better.
spraying. He does that way too much.
Billy Corgan.
take credit for everything too.
Yeah, and taking credit for everything. But he's owed more credit than he gets. We'll say that. But definitely check that out. Follow us on Instagram. If you follow us on Instagram or most social medias except for Facebook, we're not the most active on Facebook.
Which is kind of reverse for me because
yeah.
it's I'm most active on Facebook, but I use Instagram.
Yeah. But if
Yeah.
you follow us on pretty much any other thing, we're starting doing more short videos on other platforms. But if you follow us on Instagram, you'll see we're doing a lot of shows promoting this new album on the Rebirth tour. So check that out, and that's all I would recommend, or else.
You guys have anything to add?
No? Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, thank you guys so much again for meeting up with me in our haunted abandoned bowlaway. Maybe we'll meet here again to do some shows or something, you know?
That'd be fun.
That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
It would be sick.
I cannot wait to hear you guys' new music coming out. You guys, like I said, you have me as a fan since I saw you guys for the first time, that show. Can't wait to see you guys come out with. Can't wait to see you guys keep on rocking. And thank you again for playing our show August 2nd for a great cause. And, you know, yeah, let's do this, guys. Thank you guys again.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're excited.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.
Blazing sun falling away, you and I again. Blazing sun following again, again. When you dressed in white, you and I were made out of it. When you and I were made out of it. When you and I, we went down, cross the path again. Asphalt, clouds contend. You are in my way again, again. When you dressed in white, you and I were made out of it. When you and I were made out of it. When you and I, we went down, when you dressed in white, you and I were made out of it. When you and I were made out of it. When you and I, we went down, cross the path again. Asphalt, clouds contend. You are in my way again. You're in my way again, again,
We are not worth asking, and this was our interview with the Music Roundtable. And this is our song, Asphalt Flowers.
Caper Bingzoid.